نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد, respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The discussion concerning Imam Ali in the eyes of non-Muslims is a fundamental discussion in Islamic thought, and a discussion which requires an in-depth examination, for it is one which affects each and every one of our lives. On many occasions, whenever a personality is examined in Islamic history, they are normally examined from the lenses or from the eyes of a Muslim perspective. Normally, the personality examined is either examined by a Muslim philosopher, or a Muslim poet, or a Muslim jurisprudent. You find that on many occasions, these personalities are revered by members of their own religion. Yet you find that there is a study which is very much undervalued in regards to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that is the study of the way he is depicted in non-Muslim sources, or indeed the influence he had on the lives of many non-Muslims. Because it's vital in our generation that we do not cocoon Ali ibn Abi Talib only to the religion of Islam, but rather allow Ali ibn Abi Talib to be that universal figure that he was envisaged to be by his creator. And that's why when you examine in the academic world, you'll find that many a great philosopher, and many a great poet, and many a great historian who are outside of the religion of Islam were affected by Amir al-Mu'mineen. As an example, you notice that there would definitely be an effect in the idea that the Imam himself has a lovely line which would open his character to the whole world, where he states, our enemies are not the Christians and the Jews, but our enemy is our own ignorance. This perspective of the Imam highlighted the fact that he had come for the whole of humanity. He had just not come for the religion of Islam, but he had come for each and every human being. And truly each and every human being would embrace Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why you find the famous Sikh poet by the name of Kinnaur Singh has beautiful lines where he says, you belong to every faith and every age and every people, and we will never allow anyone to diminish from your honor. And we will not, while we stay alive, allow anyone to claim you solely as their own. Notice this person's a Sikh, but he says Ali ibn Abi Talib belongs to every faith, every age and every people. That from every generation and from every class of society, people were able to take from Amir al-Mu'mineen. Therefore, if we were to take a small glimpse in this small presentation, let's look at some of the figures in history and in philosophy and in the world of ethics who learnt and embraced Amir al-Mu'mineen from outside of the religion of Islam. As an example, you have the famous philosopher by the name of Emerson. If you go to America today and you study who are the greatest American philosophers, one of them stands higher than many others, and his name was Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson was known as the master of transcendental philosophy. He was one who had discussed the origins of the nature of God and the nature of the human being. Emerson has a book which is studied until today at university. It is titled Self-Reliance. Within that book, he talks about how mankind can sometimes be a slave to the world of wealth and the world of desires. And in that book, he mentions a beautiful line. He says, no man explained the ratio of sustenance in this world like the renowned caliph by the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib. In that page, what does he state? He says, Ali mentions a line to his son Hassan where he says, know, my son Hassan, that sustenance is of two types. There is a sustenance you run after and a sustenance which runs after you. Here Emerson says no man has understood the equation of sustenance on earth like the Caliph Ali. That there is a form of sustenance which you will run after in life, but there's another which runs after you. And he says the very fact that mankind can understand such a perspective highlights the greatness of this character. Here you have a philosopher outside of Islam who embraces Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then you have a politician. If you look at someone like Rajiv Gandhi, you find that he was a person who ruled a certain part of the world in the 20th century. When he was asked the question that what is it that you would advise your cabinet every morning when you sit with them, he would reply that I give my cabinet every morning letter 53 of Nahj al-Balagha. And that letter I give to each new member of the cabinet, and I use the words of Ali when he wrote the letter to Malik. And he says there are two lines which I always remind them. The first line, know that people are of two types. They are either your brothers in faith or equals in humanity. He said India has got many religions. Either some of them are my brothers in faith or some will be my equals in humanity. Then he says there's another line in that letter which affected me. What was it? The line where Ali says to Malik, have mercy on the people in the way you'd want Allah to have mercy on you on the day of judgment. He said, I would always reflect upon myself that am I showing mercy to the creation in the way I'd want mercy to come from the Creator? Here you have a person outside of the religion, yet look at his words. Then you have the famous British historian, Wilfred Madelung, head of history at Oxford University for a period of time. He says there is one trait which you can learn from Ali, which all of us can apply in our life. His generosity in the way he was forgiving to his enemies. He says, I don't need to be a Muslim for me to appreciate Ali ibn Abi Talib, the way he forgives with generosity his enemies. You think what Ali saw in the civil wars when he became caliph were easy for him? You think it was easy for him to forgive certain personalities with the arrogance that they had showed him? Yet he says, look at his generosity. That even the person who leads the war, he makes sure is sent back with respect towards her household. Then you find the famous French philosopher, Gabriel Encore, mentions a stunning line. He's not part of the religion, yet look at how Ali is part of him. He says that Ali ibn Abi Talib combines something which no other human combines. At one moment, he is a marshal at war. At another moment, he is a philosopher and a man of ethics and a man of science and a man of sociology. He says, have you ever seen a man say the following lines? Mankind, you came from a drop of semen and you leave as a piece of dust. You don't know when you came, nor do you know when you are going. So why do you walk around like you know everything? Here he says, no man brought man down to earth like Ali. That I am a French philosopher, yet I have never seen a marshal at war who can also be a philosopher and a scientist and a man of ethics all in one. And that's why for all of us today, just to take a final lesson about Imam Ali in the eyes of non-Muslims, that famous Lebanese Christian by the name of George Jordak, who wrote the book on Imam Ali, which he titled Ali, the Voice of Human Justice. And at the beginning he says, I am a Lebanese Christian, and people ask me, why is it that you speak about a Muslim figure? He says, if Ali was just meant for Islam, then I, a Christian, would not be learning from him. He says, on the top of our house in Lebanon, we have a plaque which was nailed to the top of the door by my mother. And it says, there is no youth but Ali and no sword but Dhul Fiqar. He says, that line remained in me in my life. And he said, this whole world you see around you is not even worth the strap of the shoes of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And that's why our responsibility on an event like Ghadir is that we have to not cocoon Ali, but rather let the whole world know Ali. We should make sure that Ali isn't just ours, but that every human being claims Ali as theirs. And only when we move forward in this direction would we truly have honored what the Imam wanted us to honor. That's why you find as a conclusion, one famous Indian journalist writing in a magazine in Parsi, a magazine called Current in the 60s, says, to try and understand Ali ibn Abi Talib is like trying to fill the ocean into a jar. Nearly impossible. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
من فضلك رجائي واكفني الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين